Hello, my name is Dale Wilhite. I live at the French Farmer in Mountain Village, Colorado. If you want to find out anything about me, you can go to MySpace and read it there. This is a repeat of the video on about Frank Sinatra, whether or not he was in the mob or not. I'm making this second one because the first one, had a kind of a roaring sound in the back and was not you couldn't hear it very well from what people have emailed me and told me. So I'm going to make another one here, and it's going to be short and try to be to the point. Was Frank Sinatra the actor or singer in the mob? Of course not. If he had been in the mob, they would have had to, the mob themselves would have had to have killed him, because of the fact that he was a high-profile entertainer. He was too well known. And if he was in the mob, then the FBI thought he was in the mob, and the Justice Department. They would have tapped his phone. They would have followed him around, and eventually he would have led them right to many of the mob bosses, particularly in Vegas and New York City, in no time. You can't. The mob doesn't like attention. Except for maybe a few in the past, that got attention because they were just arrogant people. But overall, the mob does not like attention. And Frank Sinatra would have brought too much attention to them if he was actually in it. There was no evidence that he was. Did he know people in the mob? Probably. A lot of entertainers knew people in the mob. Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis knew people in organized crime. That's how they basically got their start. They would work at clubs back in the 40s and 50s, that were owned by mobsters. But they were not in the mob. There's no evidence they ever condoned anything these mobsters did. They had no participation in any of their crimes. It just happened to be that some of the clubs that they played were owned by mobsters. That's just the way it was in those days. But Dean Martin was not a mobster. Jerry Lewis is certainly not a mobster, and would never condone anything that the mob does. Killing people, kidnapping people, things like that. And neither would Frank Sinatra. I think he sometimes liked the notoriety. I think he kind of liked people thinking he was, maybe that was part of his act. I know that the insult comic Don Rickles loved it because it made for some good material. As anyone that knows anything about the two men would agree. And I think that it was just more of an act than anything else. But simply put, no, Frank Sinatra would bring too much attention to the mob. They could never have been a participant or allowed him to become part of their organization, because he would the FBI would be all over it. They would follow him everywhere, tap his phones, and sooner or later he would make a mistake and bring them right to them. Bring the FBI, that is, right to them, and it would be they couldn't do it. They would actually kill Frank Sinatra if they thought he would bring the FBI to them. So the fact of the matter is, he didn't die that way. So no, he did not. Frank Sinatra was actually probably I think he has the record for the most songs ever recorded, which I think was over 1,000. Not even Elvis, the Beatles, or Michael Jackson, anyone like that has ever recorded over 1,000 songs, or even Mariah Carey. He was a man that fought against racial discrimination. He finally got tired one day of Sammy Davis Jr. having to come in through the back doors of the casinos to perform, and he put a stop to that. And I think others like Dean Martin, the rest of the Rat Pack, put a stop to that, because it was just downright stupid. Sammy Davis Jr. was an outstanding performer, and to be treated like that, I don't know how he kept smiling all the way to the day he died. That was quite remarkable. I'd probably be better being treated that way. But nonetheless, no, Frank Sinatra was not in the mob. There's no evidence that he was. I think it was just more of an act than anything else. Because, again, he probably knew people in the mob. I've lived in Vegas. There's mobsters there. There's connections. And I'm not going to say anything more than that. But that doesn't mean he was a participant in it. And what within his character to condone anything that they did, but as it was with Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis, neither men were mobsters either. They just wanted to perform, and that's all they wanted to do. Thank you for your time.